Ah, the Emmys. One of the few times a year where you can witness a paradox, where people who make a living reading scripts and performing are absolutely terrible at reading scripts and performing, on a night where they are praised for a job well done. The Simpsons are no strangers to the Emmys. As of recording this, they have nearly 80 Emmy nominations, and have won almost half of them. They have been nominated in numerous categories. Best voice acting, several music categories, a couple sound mixing ones, best editing, and best animating. But the category I'm focusing on is for Outstanding Animated Program, for programming less than 1 hour. Basically best TV episode of the year. They have actually been nominated every season except for 3, season 4, 5, and 25. For season 25, I'm more surprised that every season around it was nominated, since this is well within the zombie Simpsons era. But season 4 and 5 are smack dab in the golden age, where there are several iconic episodes. But hey, I guess the Emmys didn't think they deserved a spot. Unlike Inspector Gadget Saves Christmas and The Roman City, whatever the hell that is. At first glance at the list before watching anything, there are some episodes I know are good and make sense. There are some episodes I know are bad and question why. Then there are episodes that align with common Hollywood beliefs. They seem like they are made for the Emmys. These are episodes I'll be referring to as Emmy bait. It's like Oscar bait, but with less period pieces. Now before we start the list, I'd like to give a shout out to our patrons. If you like this video, consider becoming a patron. Links are in the description. With that being said, let's get into our list. Here are every Simpsons nominated episode, ranked from worst to best. Number 32 and the worst nominated episode is The Town. This is easily one of the worst episodes they ever made. I have no idea how it got nominated for an Emmy. It starts with everyone in Springfield hating Boston to an obnoxious level. Then shows everything good in Boston to an obnoxious level, to the point the family moves there. But then Bart thinks this place is too nice for him, and brings Homer's hate back out, causing him to move back home, and causing Lisa to go insane? The end. If you have ever liked The Simpsons, then don't ruin that by watching this episode. It did have some good jokes, but that did not save it from being an F. Number 31 is Homer. I am utterly shocked that this episode was not only nominated, but won an Emmy. The episode is about Homer becoming a genius, after a crayon was removed from his brain. When this happens, he becomes a smug jackass. Then the town turns against him because he got everybody laid off at the plant. And then wasn't laughing at a movie? Really? So he decides to shove the crayon back into his brain. Because intelligent people can't be happy? The worst part of the episode is how they tried to explain why Dr. Hibbert, who was shown to be in Mensa, had never seen the crayon in Homer's brain. Because his thumb blocked it. Are you freaking serious? What about when it comes out of the machine? Or when it's hanging up, like in this episode? This is one of the laziest and moronic excuses for the plot to work that I have ever seen. This episode is awful. Like the first one, it has some good jokes, but it's still an F. Number 30 is Trias A Horror 25. The first story is about Bart going to school in hell, where he learns and loves torturing people, with his final project being to torture Homer, who gleefully wants him to do it. This is just weird and awful. The second story is a parody of Clockwork Orange, and they make a joke about burning this and rewriting it, which they should have actually done. It's your atypical crummy treehouse parody. The last story is about the house being haunted, with the ghosts of the Tracy Ullman Show versions of themselves. And it was actually funny. The plot was meh, but at least there was something good in this episode. D-. Number 29 is Trias A Horror 23. This didn't have a standard intro, with a couch gag and a chalkboard joke. Instead, it had a small story about the 2012 Mayan apocalypse, and it was really good actually. The first story is about people treating a black hole like a trash can, before everyone gets sucked in, going to another dimension, where aliens see our garbage like treasure. It's mediocre, but hey, at least it's not a parody. The second story is a Paranormal Activity parody, and it's awful. At least it had a good joke or two. The last story starts as a parody of Back to the Future that takes place during the season 2 episode The Way We Was, which was great, but it fizzles out in the end. So this episode had a good intro, a meh first story, a bad second, and a disappointing third. D+. Number 28 is The Dad's Feeling Limited. So apparently the Emmys have never heard of show Don't Tell, since the emotional depth of this episode is done via exposition dump. This episode is about comic book guy's wife wanting a baby while he doesn't. That is until he spends time with Bart and Lisa. But that changes after they cry to him and he runs away. Then we learn he was never shown love as a child and compensated with comic books. Marge then gets his father to connect with his son by threatening him. Afterwards, comic book guy agrees to have a baby. This episode is mediocre at best and was really lacking in the jokes. C-. Number 27 is Gone Boy. This episode is about Bart disappearing after falling into an old missile silo, causing everyone to look for him, including the prison highway cleanup crew, which Sideshow Bob is on. But he intends to kill Bart when he finds him, which he does really easily. However, when he finds Bart, he realizes he doesn't want to kill him. Something he realized 15 years earlier in season 14. But at the end of the episode, he's still obsessed with killing Bart? Make up your damn mind, dude. Honestly, the plot is mediocre and the jokes are hit and miss. C. Number 26 is Eternal Moonshine of the Simpsons Mind. This episode is about Homer losing his memory of the previous day, and now he needs to retrace his steps to find out what happened. The plot of the episode is rather dark for The Simpsons, where Homer thinks he abused his wife after finding out she is cheating on him, causing him to attempt to end his life. But don't worry, he doesn't do it. Instead, Patty and Selma commit attempted murder, and the Emmy goes to... Luckily, he expected this to happen, and made sure something was there to catch his fall at his surprise party. Then he gets his full memory of Marge planning the party, and not cheating, and he didn't hit her. We also find out he lost his memory on purpose, to not ruin the surprise. While it ended well, it was still a dark episode. Unfortunately, it didn't have enough good jokes to compensate. C. Number 25 is Mad About a Toy. This is an Emmy bait episode. It's about Grandpa questioning his own sexual identity after having a repressed memory about kissing a man in the 40s, which he learned the man was fired afterwards. He goes to see the man to apologize for getting him fired, and to see if he is really gay, which he realizes he isn't, and they part ways on good terms. The plot was alright. Emmy bait is Emmy bait. I do find it hard to believe that Grandpa had a profound, deep connection with someone he knew for a couple of hours, but sure. It had some good jokes in it though. C+. Number 24 is Life on the Fast Lane. The episode starts with Homer getting Marge a bowling ball with his name on it for her birthday, so she spites him and goes bowling, where she is swooned by a suave French bowling instructor. And she shockingly almost cheats on Homer, but thinks better of it. Then we get an iconic moment of Marge showing up to Homer at work, choosing him over Jacques. While the last act was solid and memorable, the rest of the episode was nothing to write home about. Most of the jokes fell flat and the Marge segments were meh. The emotional depth really only came at the end when Homer realizes something's up. I give it a C+. Number 23 is Viva Ned Flanders. This episode is about Ned believing he has lived a boring life, so he asks Homer to help him have some fun, which Homer does by taking him to the Mr. Burns Casino. I mean Vegas. During which they have a wild and crazy night, and wake up not remembering anything. They quickly find out they both married casino waitresses, resulting in them fleeing their new lives, but are beaten up by Vegas workers, and kicked out of the city, while their wives walk off as Siegfried and Roy parodies. Then it ends with them heading home, coming up with lies to tell their wives. And this whole ordeal is never mentioned again. until season 13. The episode was fun and had some good jokes, but the major conflict of them marrying other women is just blown off. I think this really hampered the episode as a whole. At least they made a sequel episode. B-. Number 22 is Once Upon a Time in Springfield. The episode is about Krusty falling in love with a woman who grew up watching him. It seems a little iffy on the power dynamics, but it could be worse, I guess. The relationship ruins the Krusty show. So Bart sabotages their marriage, showing his fiancée a couple of his failed marriages. But it doesn't stop her from loving him. However, it does stop Krusty from marrying her, because he knows how much of a train wreck he is, and doesn't want that for her. The episode has a sweet ending though, with them getting back together. And then she is never seen or heard from again. Hooray! Overall, the plot was enjoyable, and it had a few good jokes. The ending would have had more meaning if she was actually seen again. B-. Number 21 is Gone, Maggie Gone. The episode is about Maggie getting abducted by nuns, leaving Lisa to uncover where they have taken her. The plot is inspired by the Da Vinci Code, with Lisa having to solve puzzles to find information on Maggie's whereabouts. There is a level of audience engagement it tries to have when solving the puzzles, coming off like Dora the Explorer. Weird, but okay. The puzzle aspect has a lame ending, with a cryptic code saying it's really Maggie, Sherlock. My biggest question is, why wouldn't the nuns think this refers to someone named Maggie Sherlock? Because the comma wasn't part of the code. The it that's being referred to is something called the Gem Child, which says Maggie will bring world peace if she stays with the nuns. But Marge is like, screw the world, give me my baby. Understandable, but screw you too, Marge. I give Simpsons credit for doing something unique and interesting with the episode, but it was a weak ending, and it had only a couple of funny jokes. B-. Number 20 is Holidays of Future Past. This is a future episode centered around the family coming together for Christmas. Lisa with her daughter, Bart with his sons, and a pregnant Maggie. The plot is about Lisa and Bart being concerned about being bad parents, and agree to do better. All Lisa really needed to do was talk to her daughter to realize she idolizes her, while Bart promises to do better. Homer really does the heavy lifting in fixing his relationship. It ends with Maggie giving birth and the family takes a photo together. It's always fun to see future episodes, to see what the town looks like and where the characters are in life. But this one's plot is a little weak in the resolution department. It was still a good episode though. B-. Number 19 is Homer vs. Lisa and the Eighth Commandment. I'm not surprised this was nominated, with characters questioning morality and getting away with crime. It's Emmy bait. This episode is about Homer getting illegal cable, and Lisa being morally opposed to it. Honestly, it's a preachy Lisa episode. While she is ethically right, there are better ways of getting her point across than by guilt-tripping Homer. Heck, she even tries guilt-tripping everyone Homer invites over, which is arguable if what they are doing is even wrong, as neither Homer nor Lisa tells them that the cable is illegal. At least it has some good jokes. B. Number 18 is The Seemingly Never-Ending Story. The episode has an interesting way of telling a story that can be rather hard to follow. It's about Lisa telling a story, of Mr. Burns telling a story, of reading a story by Moe, that briefly talked about Edna telling a story. Also, Homer tells a story, along with a big-horned sheep. See what I mean? This all culminates in a showdown involving ancient Mayan treasure that was hidden away inside of Carl's dad caverns. But then we find out it was all actually a story told by Bart. It's a good episode. Nothing great. I enjoy how they told the story, but it wasn't really a funny outing. It's a B. Number 17 is She of Little Faith. An episode where a character questions Christianity and becomes a member of a more trendy religion in Hollywood? Of course this was getting the nomination. Yeah, this is another Emmy bait episode. The episode is good though, so there's that. It's about Lisa becoming a Buddhist after the church sells out to Mr. Burns, causing strife in her family. Especially with Marge, who tries bribing her with Christmas to convert her back to Christianity. It ends after Lisa learns that Buddhists can celebrate Christmas, and the family happily celebrates the holiday together. Even though that didn't really solve Marge's concerns with Lisa, but oh well, Merry Christmas. It's not the best episode in the world, but it deserves a B+. Number 16 is Future Drama, a future episode where we see Bart and Lisa as teenagers. The first thing I liked about this episode is that they don't give a date, but instead they say it's 8 years from now, which is better than something like Lisa's wedding happening in 2010. The episode is about the kids seeing themselves graduating high school, with Lisa graduating early. We also see Maggie, on vacation by herself? What 9-year-old goes on vacation by themselves? Macaulay Culkin? Anyways, we learned that Lisa has a Yale scholarship from Mr. Burns. But after Bart saves Mr. Burns' life, he is awarded the scholarship instead. Which doesn't go over well. But after he sees Lisa's sad future, he gives back the scholarship. And all is well. Overall, it was a fun episode with a good plot, but was rather lacking in funny jokes. B+. Number 15 is Angry Dad the Movie. I love the fact that this was nominated for an Emmy, because the episode makes fun of award shows. It even ends with Bart and Homer cutting up an Oscar. The episode starts with making the Angry Dad movie. The web cartoon Bart made in another episode. But it screens horribly, so they cut it up into a short film, and it is beloved. It keeps winning awards, but Homer is hogging the spotlight during the speech, causing Bart to hide the fact they got nominated for an Oscar, which they win. Then he says it's stupid for only him to accept this award, because so many people work on these things. Homer then apologizes and they cut up the Oscar, handing out a piece to everyone in production. This was a good episode. I really liked all the different shorts you saw during it, each with a different art style. B+. Number 14 is Tre House of Horror 33. The episode, as of recording this, just won the Emmy. Congratulations to them. The episode starts with a story about Maggie and Marge being terrorized by a malevolent monster connected to a book. This is a legitimately scary segment, to the point I don't recommend kids watching it. But actually bringing horror to a Tre House of Horror is refreshing. The second story is the one that got the most attention. It's a parody of Death Note. It's visually amazing. I love seeing The Simpsons in an anime style. The plot wasn't as good, and I really didn't care for the ending. The last story is definitely the weakest of the three. It's about Simpson robots becoming self-aware and escaping a Simpsons theme park to a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Overall, the first two segments were great, but the last one brings it down a bit. A-. Number 13 is 3 Gays of the Condo. And just by the name of this episode, I knew this was Emmy bait. This episode is about Homer moving out of the house, after finding out Marge only stayed with him because she was pregnant. And even admits that she's always resented him since. Damn, Marge, pretty harsh. As you could guess, he moved into a condo with a gay couple, during which he becomes Metro and spends time in the Springfield gay district. Then this episode gets awkward, as his roommates get him drunk and one of them tries to seduce him. Yeah, give them the Emmy. Luckily, nothing happens. And in the end, Homer finds out that Marge really does love him, and they get back together. The plot was enjoyable enough, if not a little predatory. but this episode is absolutely hilarious and fully deserves an A-. Number 12 is Trash of the Titans. This episode is about Homer running for sanitation commissioner, which he wins and proceeds to fancy up the garbage man, putting on a really fun song and dance, and quickly overspending their budget, resulting in him agreeing to take other cities' trash to pay the garbage men, which causes Springfield to be overflooded with trash, leading to a ridiculous and nonsensical ending, where the town moves every building 5 miles down the road. Seriously? While it was a very fun and funny episode, the rather stupid ending brought it down a notch, as well as several moments of jerk-ass Homer making an appearance. A-. Number 11 is Behind the Laughter. This is one of the most unique episodes The Simpsons have ever made. The whole episode is a parody of VH1's Behind the Music, where the Simpsons know they're on a TV show and are actors. However, they are a real family living in Springfield, so it's not completely meta. But every episode before this was part of their TV show. And the real family let fame get to their heads, causing their family to fall apart, until they are rekindled by Willie Nelson. This is a great episode. I love how it's just different from the norm. The only downside is that it could be funnier. Still great though. A. Number 10 is The Way We Worked. This is a flashback episode that's about Marge and Homer meeting at a summer camp as kids, and being each other's first kiss, while not knowing each other was Marge and Homer, since they looked different and Homer used a different name. It's actually a very cute episode. Much like how it's fun to see kids as adults in future episodes, it's fun seeing the adults as kids. This is a great episode, with a very sweet ending. A+. Number 9 is Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. An episode I have covered twice before already, in my Christmas list and the best of season 1 videos. Go check them out. It's about Homer needing extra money for the holidays, and gets a job as Santa, but that doesn't pay well. So they try their luck at the dog track, which they lose, but they win a dog, as this is how they get Santa's little helper. This is a great episode, and a solid start to the series. A+. Number 8 is The Ha Ha Couple. This episode is about Bart becoming best friends with Nelson. Things go well for Bart at first, but then Nelson becomes obsessive to a crazy level. When Bart says to Nelson he doesn't want to be friends anymore, he fears Nelson is going to kill him on a field trip. But he just tells him off for being a bad friend. It ends with Nelson saving his life, and Bart cherishing their friendship. There's also a sweet side plot between Homer and Lisa, of him reading an Angelica Button book, the Simpsons version of Harry Potter. It's another great episode from The Simpsons. A+. Number 7 is Tre House of Horror 6. The first story has advertising mascots turning into kaiju that destroy the town, and is absolutely hilarious. Easily one of the best Treehouse segments ever. The next one is a parody of Nightmare on Elm Street, where groundskeeper Willie is Freddy Krueger. I'm normally not a fan of parodies in these episodes, but that's usually because they do a bad job at it. This one is amazing and a classic. The last segment is Homer getting stuck in a 3D pocket dimension, which comes off more like a tech demo than a Treehouse short. But hey, if any time is a place to try something new, it's a Trias A Horror episode. It's visually interesting and unique, while the plot and jokes are alright. Overall, I love the first 2 stories, and appreciate them trying new things in the third. A+. Number 6 is Thanksgiving of Horror. This is a Trias A Horror episode that takes place during Thanksgiving. And that is really evident with the shackling, brutal death of Turkey Maud Flanders. The first story is about Thanksgiving from Turkey's perspective. And it's a great segment. Brutal, but great. The second story is about sentient Marge AI. And it isn't just another killer AI story. It's a solid segment with a really sweet moment, involving Maggie reacting to the first sound she heard, Marge's heartbeat. The last story is a sci-fi horror, involving a killer cranberry sauce monster, and it is hilarious. It's a little gruesome, with images of the Springfield kids' skin remains, but still a solid segment. Usually in 3-story episodes, one of them falls short, but this one didn't have that. Honestly, if this was an actual Treehouse episode, I would say it was one of the best they ever made. A+. Number 5 is Pixelated and Afraid. This episode is about Homer and Marge being lost in the woods, living in the remains of a long-abandoned couples resort, and surviving by copying what they learn on survival TV shows, during which they have a harrowing fight with a Wolverine that sees both of them at one point practically sacrificing themselves to save the other, ending rather brutally for the Wolverine. Hardcore, Homer. We then see a beautiful journey through the wilderness, as they follow tracks to a ranger station, and are saved. This was an amazing episode. It was lacking in jokes, but the story was so good it didn't need it. This is proof the Simpsons Renaissance is real. Thanks, Matt Stillman. A+. Number 4 is Radio Bart. Another episode in this list I made an entire video about in my best episode of season 3 video. Go check it out. It has elements of The Boy Who Cried Wolf, as Bart pranks the town by pretending to be a boy stuck in a well, which the town rallies behind. But then Bart fears he'll be discovered, so he climbs down the well to get the radio he was using to prank them, only to actually get trapped down there. After the town learns that they were tricked, they decide just to leave him down there, until Homer says screw this and starts digging to get his son, which starts an old-fashioned hole digging. And Bart is saved. A+. Number 3 is Lisa's Wedding. This is the first feature episode they ever made, and I'm not surprised they made more after the resounding success of this one. This, as the title implies, is about Lisa's wedding, with a focus on the family meeting her fiancé for the first time. Which they mean well, but things don't go well. Lisa doesn't get married, however, because when she confronts her fiancé about wearing sentimental cufflets, she learns that he plans for them to never see her family again. And Lisa may have conflicting feelings towards her family, but she's not going to abandon them. Good on you, Lisa. A+. Number 2 is Homer's Phobia, an episode where Homer learns to accept homosexuality? Of course this was going to win an Emmy. Luckily, this episode goes beyond Emmy bait, and it's actually one of the best Simpsons episodes of all time. The episode is about the family befriending a man named John, who Homer finds out is gay, then becomes angry at him, and fears he's turning Bart gay. So Homer takes Bart to straighten him out, which doesn't work out so well. He then takes him hunting, thinking that will work. This goes poorly, but they are saved by John, and Homer likes him again. Then he tells Bart he accepts that he's gay, which confuses Bart, because he's not. This is an amazing episode, with a great plot and absolutely hilarious jokes. A+. And lastly, we are at number 1. And the best Emmy-nominated Simpsons episode goes to Halloween of Horror. It's about the family actually celebrating Halloween, and Lisa being traumatized by Halloween Horror Night at Krustyland, causing them to take down the decorations, really upsetting Bart. So Marge desperately tries to give Bart a good Halloween, while Homer stays at home with Lisa. Then this episode becomes scarier than almost any Treehouse story, as Homer and Lisa have to hide from home invaders who want revenge on Homer after he unintentionally gets them fired. It ends with Lisa conquering her fears and coming up with a plan to defeat the home invaders. Then everyone enjoys a happy Halloween. This is one of the best Simpsons episodes ever. I absolutely love it. And I really enjoyed seeing a Halloween episode that isn't a Trias A Horror. The worst part about this episode is that it didn't win the Emmy. I recommend everyone watching this to go see this episode. A+. And that's the list. If you have a different number one, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.